Hey nature fans, this is Sam from Stevens Brothers Outdoors. Today we are going to be doing a cooking video for you. This is my father-in-law Michael. He's cooking a brook trout in a foil packet method. He'll be cooking it for 35 to 40 minutes at 400 degrees. This fish was caught in Glade Creek in West Virginia. Right now he's just stuffing it with some peppers, some onions, and some carrots, and some butter and salt. And he has soaked all the vegetables in some water beforehand to make them a little bit softer. That's the best way to cook your potatoes when you put them in the oven, so that they are fork tender when you're done. Here he is adding some butter. It really just depends on your taste. You can never have too much butter. And he's drying his hands off before he puts the salt on. That's the part that you do have to be a little bit careful on. You don't want to over season your fish before you're done cooking it. You can always add more later, but you don't want to start off with too much because you can't really take it off once it's on there. And now he's just going to fold the tinfoil over the fish in a way that will ensure that the butter doesn't seep out when he is cooking it. It'll end up being its own little packet, and once he folds it over a couple times, it'll be in there, it'll steam up really good and cook the fish. Now we just cut the head off of the fish and took out the guts right when we caught the fish, and we left the skin on and the bones in. We don't care about the skin really too much. We're going to just cook it as it is and then peel it off of the skin. Now this is my husband. He is taking a turn at putting together the fish. This is the first time that he has ever prepared a fish like this, so he watched his stepdad make one first, and now he's taking his turn, getting the butter in there before he puts his vegetables. And putting in some onions and some other vegetables in there. He's a big fan of onions, so he's putting quite a few onions. Now he's going to put those carrots and potatoes. Make sure that they're pretty dry. I know that they've been soaking in water, but you want to dry them off first before you put them in with the fish. You don't want too much moisture in with your fish. And now he's just going to add that butter in there. I'm a big fan of butter, so I always encourage him to put a lot in there. Just makes all the veggies taste good, gets that fish, brings out that natural flavor in it. The fish on its own has a really good mild taste, but that butter will just bring it out a little bit more. And now he's going to put the salt on. And we always pour it into our hands instead of pouring it directly onto the fish, just so that we're not over seasoning it and just getting the proper ratio of salt all over it to make those veggies taste good and to give the fish a little bit of flavor. But again, we're not going to be eating the skin, so we're not too worried about seasoning the outside of the fish. And now he's just going to be folding up that foil packet again. And it's its own little contained cooking environment. We really don't have to do anything to it. You don't have to flip it. You don't have to do anything. You just put it straight into the oven on the pan, like I said, for 35 to 40 minutes, and it'll just cook up beautifully. Skin comes right off. And it's all personal preference what you want to put in with your fish and how long you want to cook it for. Vegetables done a little bit more than fork tender, you can go ahead and keep it in longer. It's not going to affect the fish at all. You could put bell peppers in there, you could put jalapenos. We just did a nice little mild dish right here. We didn't want to add too much spice or anything to it. And here I am putting it in the oven. And it's as simple as putting it in and you're done. You just got to set the oven and move on with the rest of your day. And now my husband is going to be taking the fish out of the oven and seeing how it all turned out. And here we have the finished product. The fish just slides right off of the skin and comes right out. We didn't care too much about the skin. Of course, if you wanted the skin to be crispier, you could go ahead and use some Pam or cooking spray to make sure that the skin does come off, but we weren't too worried about eating it, so we just threw the skin away with the tinfoil. Go ahead and enjoyed watching us cook up some trout today. Go ahead and check out our dog Luna and some of our other camping videos. This is Stevens Brothers Outdoors. We go outside so you don't have to.